Joining us via Skype from Alberta is Nicole St. Martin. This is CLARA PASIEKA. This is Connie WANG, KRISTINA ESPOSITO. And this is Nicole CHUNG. My name is Amanda Joy, and I am a screenwriter and actor based in Toronto.
There's all of these amazing groups of women who are rallying together and forming these great initiatives, and there's subtler comments, people saying, why are we doing this, it should just be based on merit, why are we, like, these types of comments I think make us weaker, and they're actually they're this sort of subtler form, but that's equally damaging.
I think a lot of this comes down to, and please feel free to disagree with me here, a lot of this comes down to misunderstandings over the concept of privilege. And so I think one of the things that people misunderstand is that when we talk about privilege, we're talking about bringing people down. When we talk about privilege, at least in my opinion, we're actually talking about neutrality, that you are in a space where you don't have these kinds of discriminatory institutions or ideologies working against you. And so for people who are in that empowered group, they don't think, well, this is a thing to bring people up. They think this is a thing to bring me down.
Yeah, I think the notion of privilege is sometimes there's a lot of anger and rage, and rightly so, justifiably. And so that word is actually used as a weapon sometimes towards people. Knowing and acknowledging that that privilege exists and how that affects the other person, and that you're only going to benefit from equaling and leveling that playing field, as opposed to seeing it as, oh my God, it's more competition. Oh my God, you want to take away from me, as Clara was saying. And, you know, also this notion that you're taking away more pieces of the pie as opposed to creating more damn pies, you know, to spread around.
It's really hard to have those conversations with men, particularly white men, who also often have a similar relationship when spaces are carved out specifically for diversity. And it's really difficult to have these conversations because they're not discriminating against me. They're not saying, no, I'm not going to pick your films, but they're not okay with carving out boxes specifically for women to inhabit and thrive in.
But I think there's definitely like a scarcity model happening, right? Where like, you know, like people feel that like if you're getting something, they're not getting it, right?
But the thing is that a lot of these opportunities are not actually something being taken away. They're a new opportunity that's been thrust extra. Like an opportunity, like a new program to sort of support women is like a bonus on top of what already existed before. So yes, it's a bonus that you can't that you can't access or sort of take part in, but it's still this extra thing. Just like if there's an extra thing for, okay, this is for children who are under 17 or whatever, it's this extra bonus thing that's been thrown into the industry, but a lot of men are still seeing it as something that they can't have. And I think so many of these programs are so essential, and that's been something that I've been grappling with and I'm having a lot of difficulty with.
I'm assuming this probably came from the Parliament initiative to have 50% female cabinet ministers.
It's that and it's things within our own industry as well. But that's a good example of how it's affected our nation as a whole.
Because they think that they can't find women in a country of 35 million people that might have the merit to have that job.
And the assumption that these women don't have as much merit, which is completely not true. It's like, oh, well, that was chosen, but it was written by a woman, so you know.
Right.
Those types of comments.
I guess it was the way I was raised. I don't really know, but I've never thought of it as a barrier. I've never felt like I've ever been a step back because I'm a woman, ever. Like, I've never felt that. In acting, it's different because obviously there's not as many roles. There's not, like, that's a little bit different. But as far as, like, producing and networking and all that kind of stuff, I've just never thought of it that way.
I mean, we all have different experiences.
Differently. I'm not,
Oh, no, of course. And I really think it's great that you're saying that because it's so important that we have so many different opinions and experiences to any conversation. So that's probably a really good way that we can fight sexism in a very proactive way is by remembering that any change in ideology or any social change has to happen through discussion and not once you start talking at someone, they stop listening to you. And I think that that's, you know, it's something I see in a lot of university campuses where you get talked at a lot. And I think that that's kind of the memory that people have of issues of social justice, is that they go into
Right.
it thinking that they're going to just be told they're bad people.
Celebrating, it invites people in. Because people want to come to a party. They don't want to
Yeah.
come to this bashing
Yeah.
frenzy. So I think
Which
that we
is
have the
why
power.
Talk created, I had this idea. I was like, well, what can we do? What can we do to get people on board with what we're talking about? And not just about having women in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well. And I thought, well, let's give an award to somebody. Let's give an award to somebody who's in a position of power, who actually does make a difference, who actually does forward gender equity on screen and behind the camera. And so we created the Nell Shipman Awards. You know, like, let's shine lights, let's spotlight the people who are making a difference, who are doing things well. But also, I do think, as much as we need to focus on the positive, you know, with the Sony hack demonstrating how if we don't openly talk about some of the negative things that happen, like the complete inequity in pay, then people won't know. And then you have somebody like Bradley Cooper who said, I had no idea, and from now on, when I get cast in a film, I'm going to have a discussion with the female leads to make sure that this is something that's on the table, that we're opening up about, because it's not going to change if it's in secret.
And it's something that we have to remember, not just as activists, but as women as well, knowing that we are in a marginalized place in society, that to have our opinions heard, unfortunately, we have to play ball in very specific ways.
Like, as an artist, right, you're telling a story and people learn from these stories.
But they wanted her to be able to deal with everything sort of effectively, and then we would see that, and we would see, oh, happily sort of ever after.